Story 1. Today, I went to the movies to see Deadpool. Alongside me was my stepmother, who has recently been training to be a cop. In the beginning, everything was going normally, and everything was good. I loved the movie, and had seen it once before this. Towards the end of the movie though, I noticed an older man who had walked to the top of the theatre where me and my stepmother were sitting, and he sat there. He didn't watch the movie, didn't sit down, didn't do anything except stare at the people. I blew it off, thinking he was looking for someone and couldn't find them. He then went down towards the entrance of the room and did the same thing, looked up at everyone, and stared for another 7 to 10 minutes before leaving. I thought it was odd, but continued watching the movie. About 2 minutes later, I see the same old man walk in, only this time he walked very slowly across the theatre, not facing the screen or anything, but once again looking at all of the people. My stepmother looked at me and whispered, "Grab your things and head to the lobby." I began to get a little freaked out and did what she said. I later went to the bathroom, and when I came out, there was 4 workers standing outside the theatre, and she was explaining how his behaviour was like that of someone who was about to shoot up a room. He was scanning the room and everyone in it. After a while, the workers took control of the situation and watched the man for a bit, just to make sure everything was well. 2 workers went in, and after about 5 minutes, they came out saying, "Yeah dude, he's still standing there and staring at everyone." Soon after, we left the theatre, just to be safe. Once getting home, she'd called one of her friends that works at the police station and talked to them about it. They said he was a middle-aged man, and he had a loaded weapon on him the whole time he was in there, and never once sat down, nor stopped looking at everybody. Story 2. When I was a kid, around 8 years old, I took karate lessons at my local mini-mall. Just recalling the events of this story fills me with dread as to what could have happened. So, I remember my lessons were twice a week, an hour long, and my mum would drop me off and pick me up when it was over. Most parents would sit in the lobby and wait for their kids' lessons to be over, but my mum would always go shopping or something to kill the time instead. There was this guy that was in the lobby almost every time I had a lesson. He looked older, probably in his 50s, dark hair, long beard and moustache. I always assumed he was another one of the kids' parents, but I never saw him drop someone off or pick them up. Something was strange about this, but my 8-year-old brain didn't piece together that it was weird that some guy would just hang out and watch kids in the lobby of a karate center. So, one day I graduated up to a green belt, and my mum dropped me off at the same time she always did. However, she didn't realise that I was in a different group of lessons now, and I wasn't able to participate in the class. So instead, I decided to go look for her in the mini-mall. The guy started to follow me. He came right up behind me and tapped me on the shoulder, told me that my mum told him to find me and give me a ride because my sister was in the hospital. He described what my mum looked like, what my sister looked like, and that I should get in his van so that he could take me to my parents. I remember I started to cry and follow him, because I really believed him when he said my sister was in the hospital. I asked him what happened, and he told me they were in a car accident. I asked him who he was, and I remember he just said he was friends with my mum. I remember this didn't sit right with me, because my mum never talked to him when she dropped me off, and I didn't recall them ever saying one word to each other. His van was parked a couple stores down from the karate center by the sidewalk. I remember being something like 20 feet from the van when I looked behind me and saw my mum shopping through one of the windows in a JC Penney. At this point, the guy was holding my hand and leading me to his van, but when I stopped and saw my mum, he started to pull me and say we had to hurry. I remember pointing at my mum and saying to him, "My mum's right there!" He gave another tug at me, and I resisted and started to scream. He let go of me instantly, got in his van, and sped off in a hurry. In that moment, I realised I was almost kidnapped. I remembered all the stranger danger warnings we were given in school, but I stupidly thought that because this guy could describe my mum and sister, that he must know them. Instead, he must have been watching me and my family for weeks before he decided to make his move. I remember running into the store, tears streaming down my face, and just giving my mum a huge hug. I tried to tell her what happened, but she just yelled at me and smacked me upside the head for missing my karate lesson. She took me back to the karate center, and my sensei explained to her that my lessons were at different times now, that I had gone up a belt color. He probably explained this to my mum before, but as you can tell, I didn't have the most responsible parents. I tried to tell my mum about the guy who said he was a friend, but she ignored me. Said something like, he must have thought I was some other kid. God, my mum is such an idiot. But I was too young to linger on it or do anything about it, so that memory just festered in me for years, and every year that went by, I became a little wiser, and a little more terrified about what could have happened to me if I got in that van. Story 3. I'm in my late 20s, and 36 weeks pregnant right now. I've always been pretty fit, and have made a big effort to stay in shape while pregnant, so I've been swimming a few times a week at a local pool. I like to go when it's slow, and not very many people are around, but after this experience, I've been rethinking that. I was just finishing up my laps late morning on a Wednesday, when this place is practically deserted, and headed to the hot tub, where I sit for just a few minutes to stretch. That's when I see her, or rather, smell her first. A thick, pungent odour permeates the alcove where the therapy pool is tucked away out of plain view. It smells of cigarettes and unwashed hair. It's a smell that only fairly deranged people take on, due to the total lack of bodily awareness. She may not be that old, but she's very aged. She's slouched over with a curved spine and very long stringy hair, yellowy grey. She smiles at me with a mouth full of rotted yellow teeth. I smile back, trying to be friendly. She seems mentally ill, and I don't want to be mean. However, she gets into the tub and sits uncomfortably close to me, still watching my face closely. I get up to leave, as I'm pretty much done anyway, and being pregnant, I limit my time in the hot water. She notices my belly right away. "You're pregnant!" I nod and smile a little, still walking away. She continues, "Where's your husband?" "Around." I lie over my shoulder as I walk off. I'm slightly weirded out, but not too bad. I get back into the pool to float for a while and relax. Then it's time to go, and I head into the showers. Right away, I see her. She is soaping herself up liberally and muttering to herself. I am getting a strong vibe to not go near this woman. Normally, odd behaviour doesn't really faze me. I'm not easily intimidated by women, but I instinctively held back to wait for her to be done showering. It became clear she was not going to finish up anytime soon, so I chose the shower furthest away and started washing my hair. I keep her in my periphery, but I don't engage. She sees me again and announces, "You're pregnant, look at your belly," and continues to try and make conversation. I pretend not to hear her and turn away a little to avoid eye contact, and just start soaping up. I take off my bikini to wash all the chlorine smell off me, and just wash my body as usual, until I hear breathing behind my shoulder. Very, very close. I turn. She's inches away from me, breathing hard, hands working quickly. I can see her shriveled breasts sagging, and what seems to be thousands of layers of folded skin all over her. She is muttering and panting, "So beautiful, beautiful." I realise she has her hands on her vagina, rubbing like mad. I'm so surprised. I just stand there for a second, frozen, then quickly grab my towel and run. Heading back to the changing area, there is the same insanely strong odour. Not just of cigarettes, but stale booze. I see her things, a pile of plastic bags, and some wipes strewn about that are blooded. I get dressed in a bathroom stall that locks, and thankfully I make it to my car without seeing her again.